Today we're doing a what's in the bag video. We've had a lot of people ask, what kind of clubs am I playing? What do I keep in my bag? And we're gonna dive in and I'll show you exactly what I'm playing with. Let's get into the pockets. Again, I haven't set my bag, so some of this might surprise me, but I have a good idea of what's in here. This thing probably won't leave my bag, even though it's a handful of years old. Until it breaks, I probably won't be swapping it out. What's up, golfers? Welcome back to Nx9 Golf. Today is our what's in the bag video. We've had a lot of people ask me, what type of clubs am I playing? What do I keep in my bag? What kind of bag do I use? Well, this is the video to show you all of that. So here's my bag. I pulled it straight out of club storage. We're at Country Hills Golf Course in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. That's where I'm a member. We're on their bottom range. I'll pull out each club, I'll hit them, I'll tell you a bit about them, and then maybe I'll tell you about some future clubs that I think I'm gonna throw in there. So before I dive into the pockets, let's get right into the clubs. We'll start with wedges. I'll pull all my wedges out and go through each one of these guys. So I play all Vokey wedges. 3 of these wedges are new to me. I'm playing the SM8s. So I got let's put them in order here. So the wedges that are new to me, I'm playing a SM8 58 degree, 54, a 50, and then I got an older SM6 46, which is my pitching wedge. I've always preferred using a typical wedge, like a Vokey wedge for my pitching wedge. I just prefer the look of like a blade style. So the rest of my irons start at 9 and then they go all the way down here. So the first club that I typically always pull out of my bag when I go to the range, I want to practice, is my 58 degree. This has a new sole that I'm not quite used to. It's got 12 degrees of bounce, and I'm playing all of my wedges. So even my wedges all the way up to my 3 iron, I use Project XLZ. They're 6.5 flex, so it's like a typical X flex. The grips that I use are the Golf Pride Micro Suede. I've used these for the last 2 years. I'm one of those golfers that has super sweaty hands, and these micro suedes have definitely helped me not lose grip of the club. They're a bit softer, they're maybe not as traditional as some grips, but I love them, so I have them on my wedges all the way up to my driver. I'll give you a hit with my 58 and you can see how far it goes. So my stock 58 degree is about my 110 yard club. I can get max maybe 118 if I really go at it. The wind's a little into us today, so I might not get those max numbers, but just to give you a ballpark, I'm anywhere from 110 to 118 with my 58. When I'm practicing, I'll try to hit a whole bunch of different shots, things that I think I might hit. For me, improving your game to become a scratch golfer is really dialing in those 60, 70, 55 yard shots. And I'm always playing around with different stances, different way I take the club up to just play around with the bounce of that club. At Nx9, we're actually getting into the glove game. So we've had hats for a long time, now we're getting into gloves. This is one of our prototypes. I'm just testing it around to see how the leather feels, see how they hold up and how they wear. So I got a bunch of different Nx9 gloves in my bag. We'll dive into those later, but just so you guys, if you're wondering, these are a Nx9 Cobra leather glove. So far so good, but like anything, there's some trial and error in playing out with them, so I'd rather put them in my bag before I try to get them in yours. Now we got my 54 degree, my sand wedge. Typical yardage with a sand wedge is kind of like that 120, 125 club. Because these wedges are new, I haven't had enough range sessions to really dial in those numbers, but in playing 4 or 5 rounds, that 125 is that ballpark sand wedge distance. You might notice some red tape on my shafts. I actually just had these reshafted. So a buddy of mine sold me the SM8s, and so I basically took my old shafts out of my old wedges. I had SM6s and threw them into here. So my buddy who works at the local golf town was just making sure he knew what shaft was for each club. So that's what the red tape is on my wedges. So the last Vokey SM8 I have is the 50 degree. There's a little less bounce on this. It's coming in, I think, at 12 degrees bounce. I'm still getting used to this club. For whatever reason, it's not throwing me as many darts as my previous 50 degree, but I'm still learning with it. Just looks a little different shape. This is probably my 138 to 140 club, 142 maybe max distance, and this is my gap wedge. I find by the time I work my way up to the gap wedge when I'm on the range, now I can start working the ball. I can't work the ball as much with the 58 or the 54, but as soon as I get the 50, I can put a draw on it. So you might see that on the shot tracer that there's some more movement on the 50 degree. All right, last wedge in the bag is the SM6. So my previous wedges were all SM6s. I really liked this kind of copper gunmetal finish. The new ones are obviously the stainless steel look. The only reason I have this is because my buddy didn't have a 46, so I had no option but to keep my old wedge. Doesn't have a lot of wear to the face, still treats me well, and I still have those Project X LZ 6.5s. Let's see how the wedge is flying. Distance-wise, it's my 150 club. But if I'm anywhere from 145 to 155 max distance, depending on wind, that's my pitching wedge distance. The wind is definitely starting to pick up. So you might notice on the shot tracer that I'm ballooning a couple of these, but it's just to give you an idea of the shot shape I typically hit with these clubs. All right, that's it for wedges. Let's take a look at the rest of the clubs in my bag. So very much like my wedges, I am playing Titleist irons. If you saw one of our other videos where we tested the 2021 iron lineup, the new Titleist irons, the T100s, were at the top of my list. I'm considering switching over to those. These are my old trusty AP2s. So these are 7/16 AP2s from 9 to 6. So this is interesting. My 5 iron is actually a 7/18 AP2. The reason why that is I lost my 5 iron. When I went to go do an insurance claim through Golf Canada, which is a total benefit of having a Golf Canada card, you can actually replace clubs. The 7/16s were too old of a club, so that at the time, the 7/18s were all they had, so that's kind of a mismatched set. That's why I have a 7/18 5 iron. Still the 6.5 Project X LZs. Again, I started the 9 iron just because I prefer the wedge in the Vokey. I got them up to a 4 iron, so I'll hit these and give you kind of my stock distances. If you guys are wondering what kind of shoes I'm wearing, I'm rocking Jordan trainers. These are a couple years old. I think they're from 2016. I just actually found 2 pairs of these on some shoe selling or shoe resale sites. I'm a huge Jordan fan. If you've seen some of our other videos, I collect Jordan shoes and I love their golf shoes. That every golf pair of shoes that I own are Jordans. We got my 9 iron. My 9 iron is my stock 160. For the last 10 years at least, it's always been my 160 club. Hasn't changed, and we'll see what it looks like on shot tracer. This is one of the trusty clubs. Again, I've had the 7/16 since they were new. I've had other clubs. Last year, actually, I splurged and bought a set of custom Japanese Fujimoto blades. I'll never do this again, and I'll tell you why. The clubs I couldn't hit before I bought them. These 7/16 AP2s, I went through the entire fitting process with a professional fitter, hit every club, and this is what I landed on, and I still love them. Those Fujimotos that I bought, I'll pull up a picture so you can see them. They looked so pretty, but I just didn't love how they felt compared to my AP2s. I think I bought them purely based on aesthetics, and that's one of the problems that I find in the golf community and with golfers is that you lean towards something that looks a bit better. Although that it's important, you should definitely get fit, hit everything you have available to you, and that's why we pumped out that video just comparing all the irons, because what you think you might like isn't necessarily best for your game. All right, next up we got our 8 iron. My 8 iron, the stock distance is about 175. This iron is where I start to get the most movement in my clubs. This year I'm really working on playing a draw, and this is the club that I can start slinging some hooks if I wanted. A little harder with the 9 iron, harder with the pitch, but the 8 iron is where I find I can start really moving it. So I'll try to show you what I mean in hitting kind of a pull draw. Like I said, it's about my 175 club, give or take. Sometimes I can reach a $180. I find there's not as much variance with my 8 iron as there is other clubs. I don't know why that is, but if I have 175 in that ballpark, it's definitely an 8 iron. Okay, on to the 7 iron. 7 iron is my 190 club. Now the ball's starting to get a little bit further into my stance, and again, I'm still working the ball, but this is my 190 club. All right, on to the 6 iron. 6 iron is about my 200 club, 205, give or take. And I don't know what much else to say about my 6 iron. Again, I'm still working the ball. If I want, I'm comfortable throwing that draw on it. Because I am trying to work the ball both ways, maybe I'll try to throw a bit of a cut on this, just so you can see I'm trying to work my clubs all the way up and down the bag. Flare. So keep in mind, if you are trying to work the ball, typically a draw will go further, a fade won't go as far. Give it maybe 5 yards either side. That if my 6 iron is my 200 club, if it's a cut, maybe 195. If I'm drawing it, maybe 205. All right, now we're on to my 5 iron, the 718 AP2. Definitely looks a little cleaner. Since having the 5 iron, I probably prefer that I had a full set of 718s. They feel very similar to the 716s. I like how it looks, and I think just because it was a year newer and had a year less hits on them, that I still love looking at it, and it feels very similar to my 716s. Before I hit, distance-wise, this is my 215. So throughout my club range, it seems to be about 15 yards difference between each club. I don't know if that's good or bad. That's just kind of ballpark what the distance difference is. So 215, stock 5 iron. All right, on to the last, actually no, it's not the last iron, I lied. In my bag right now, I have one more club than you're allotted because I'm playing around with 2 clubs I'm not too sure about. Not gonna get there yet, but this is my 4 iron. My 4 iron is the one club I'm considering ditching. I just don't hit it a ton. Rarely do I need a 4 iron. Distance-wise, it's in that ballpark, 225. 225 is probably my 4 iron. Again, I just hit it way less. That it's the club that I don't hit a lot. Because I am playing with 2 clubs, I'm just deciding if I want to take it out of my bag. Again, 225, stock 4 iron. Okay, so that wraps up the AP2s. I'm that guy that's anal when throwing their clubs in the bag, that I want the 678 or the 789 beside each other and the 456. Okay, last iron in my bag is the Titleist TMB 3 iron. Obviously, I was a little Titleist biased when I picked up these clubs, but again, I hit them with my fitter and everything checked out. That I was happy to put this in my bag. This is by far one of my favorite irons, my trusty iron, my fairway finder, that if I'm on a short par 4, I need to find the fairway, that I'm definitely using this 3 iron. If you saw one of our last vlogs that Ken asked us, I think I hit this max like 265, maybe a little downwind, but this is anywhere from like 240 to 250 sometimes off the tee. If I'm hitting it in the fairway, it's probably like 230, 235 max. So rarely am I hitting a dead straight 3 iron, although I would love for that to be the intent. I'm always trying to work this. I have a pretty routine draw that I'm hitting with the 3 iron. Let's hit it off and see if I can get that kind of flighted, low turning 3 iron. Okay, that's all the irons. Let's move into the woods. These head covers are Scottie Cameron head covers. If you've seen some of our older videos, you know that I'm a big Scottie Cameron collector, or I was a big Scottie Cameron collector. I've since sold a lot of stuff. I've only really kept the stuff that I like. My bag is obviously a ton of blacks and grays and whites that these head covers match. Of course, one more Titleist club. I think it's the last Titleist club in my bag, is the 915H2 Hybrid. So this 2 Hybrid is one of my trusty clubs, again off the tee, that if I need something a little bit longer than my 3 iron, I'm definitely hitting this Hybrid. I find it a lot easier to control. The last wood in my bag, my 3 wood, is the one that I'm considering dropping. I hit this far enough as is. It's probably like 260 I can get off the tee with this. In the fairway, probably about like 245, 250 ballpark. I just find I can control it a lot better. We'll see if I can hit a nice little flighted draw. That was more of a worm burner, but for a miss, that was still probably a 230 knuckle right down the middle. Let's try one more, put a little height on it. This thing probably won't leave my bag, even though it's a handful of years old. Until it breaks, I probably won't be swapping it out. So something I noticed this year is I have like a little rash burn mark on this shaft. It's a Fujikura X-Stiff hybrid shaft. And I don't know if this is just from throwing it into my bag or clubs hitting it or what happened. I'll have to ask my club fitter if it will do any damage. It doesn't feel different. It's just one of those weird things that I've noticed. Like wine, it gets better with age. So I tell myself anyway. Let's check out this last wood. Okay, so I said I was still testing out some clubs, see if I'm gonna throw that 4-iron, and it's all because of this club, my 3-wood. This is the Callaway Epic Flash, the Epic Flash Sub-Zero. Last year I thought I wanted a club that went a little bit further than my 2 hybrid. I don't know why. Like it's more for just for distance off the tee. That's never really been a big issue. There's a couple holes, maybe 1 or 2 holes that I think I need a little bit more distance, and that's the reason why I picked up this club. It's my least consistent club in the bag, that when I'm on the course I just don't get along with it, and on the driving range I hit it like I want. So we'll see what happens when I hit it here, but I'm leaning towards dumping this out of my bag and just keeping that 4 hybrid, or the 4-iron. That's typical. Like this is very typical for me playing with this 3-wood, that I hit it where I want on the range and I take it to the course and I just lose all confidence. I told you guys I'm hitting a draw. Let's see what happens if I try to turn this over. This is where I get that snap hook, 170 into the trees. Let's see. Okay, this is only working because I'm filming it, that I still think I'm gonna drop it out of my bag. It's just, I haven't got along with it on the course. So that's the last wood. Now let's move on to the driver. Okay, before I reveal this driver, I want to let you guys know that we did a driver fitting at Modern Golf earlier in the year, professional club fitting specifically for drivers. We've hit a bunch of drivers in videos and I still don't have a new driver. A lot of club manufacturers with COVID and all this stuff with delays for manufacturers. The sim head has not come in. I haven't even ordered it, I'll be honest. Still between the sim and the TSI 3. Haven't pulled the trigger on the head. The shaft, however, the shaft that we fell in love with was the LAGP, the LA Golf shaft, the blue shaft, and I'm so in love with that shaft. It has not arrived. I'm told by LAGP that there is supposed to be one in the mail for me and possibly a putter shaft. Hasn't showed up yet, so if you guys are watching, I'd still love to have that shaft. This is an older driver. Again, I bought it a couple years ago. It is the Taylormade M3. I've always loved the Taylormade woods all the way back to, I think I fell in love with Taylormade probably like the Super Quad era, back when they had all the removable screws. I don't know why they've always just talked to me. Again, I went through the fitting process and this was the driver that lined up. It's a 9.5 degree. I have it on the high draw setting. I'll show you the crown. I don't know, I love this crown, the carbon fiber with the M3. If you know BMWs at all, it's definitely just copying the BMW M3 look. I'm a big fan of it. The face has yet to crack. I've been through a handful of drivers. Back when I had the Taylormade R1. I had, what else did I have? What did I have just before this? I can't remember. I've been through a handful of drivers. Anyway, Taylormade has sent me a couple drivers. Anytime I've cracked them, they've been always very good about it. But I've yet to break this and it's still working for me. The shaft I have in it is a Fujikura Pro X Flex. This is a great shaft. This wasn't the shaft that I was fit into. Quick story about driver shafts. I went on a vacation. In the second round, I snapped my driver shaft. Where I was on vacation, there was nowhere for me to find a new driver shaft, and being kind of a golf snob, they only had stiff flexes available. Long story short, I needed 2 shafts. This I picked up as a backup shaft for my next travel trip. In just playing around with it on the range, I love it. The shaft I was fit into at the time was the Hazardous yellow shaft, and it was okay. I just didn't love it, so I've been hitting this Fujikura Pro, and I quite like it. I need a tee. So I told you I'm doing my entire bag. We'll go all the way down to the tee. This is the Pro Length Plus Performance. It's a plastic tee. I really like the crown of this tee and just the way the ball sits. It's the perfect length for me. Yeah. I can't remember if it's the 1 1/4 inch length. They make them in different color combos. Have you seen these tees before? They come in different sizes. I love these blue ones. Okay, let's talk some numbers with the driver. it ranges for sure. I'm hitting a draw this year. I would say safely it's in that 300-yard carry. With some rollout, it definitely adds up. I've hit some bombs in the past. If my game is on, if I'm shooting low, it's because this club is working. I've always hit it pretty far. Even if I'm not finding fairways, I can still get it near the green. Let's hit it a couple times and see the shape. I'll try to hit that draw I've been talking about for you guys. Oh, that just didn't come back. I'll hit one more and really try to turn it over. Well, I've been hitting all these things off of a mat, so probably now by the time I got onto grass, that's why it feels a little different. I want to hit one good one for you guys. There it is. Kept it on the driving range. That tee probably flew backwards as... Did it hit you? Oh, yeah, sorry. That's for all the times you hit me with your tee, I guess. There's the rare occurrence that I lose my tee. Head cover. Haven't talked about this yet. Friends of the podcast, Dormy Workshop. Dormy is a Canadian head cover company. They came on our podcast. We talked to Todd. He told us all about how they make these custom head covers. It's some of the nicest leather. There's something about the smell of fresh leather that I have a ton of head covers. There's another local head cover group, the Cover and Hide, that they've been awesome to us too. I'm always changing my bag, so they're another local head cover company that makes awesome leather head covers. But today we got Dormy. That's all of my clubs so far. The last one we still have to get to is my putter. You saw 2 Scottie Cameron head covers on my 3-wood and hybrid, so you're probably assuming I have a Scottie Cameron under there. I don't. It's probably a little bit sacrilege, but I just love those covers, and I don't have any of this guy's stuff yet. Let's look at the head cover first. Bonus points to whoever knows who this is. This is Bret the Hitman Hart. I grew up a huge wrestling fan. My dad was a huge wrestling fan. It's been ingrained in me. I don't keep up to it as much anymore, but I love the golden age of like the WWF and WCW and NWO. So sorry if you're not a huge wrestling fan, but this is Bret the Hitman Hart. He's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. I wanted that on there just because putting is confidence. And if you tell yourself you're the best putter in the world, it shows in your game. If you tell yourself that you suck, chances are, hey, you're not going to be putting as well. Golf Iconic made this to us. It's the magnetic closure. A lot of the higher end head covers have this magnet, and I'll never go back. If you're still rocking a head cover with Velcro, find yourself a magnetic head cover. People always complain that it sticks to their putter. This is a stainless steel putter, and it does not stick. I love these. I've used this for a long time. It's held up well. If anything, the stitching will go before the actual materials. Now, this is the highlight of my bag, in my opinion. Friend of the show is this gentleman. Tyson Lamb. So Tyson Lamb, people will refer to him as the next Scottie Cameron. Tyson makes all of his putters handmade in Texas. Where we are in Calgary, Alberta, we were, by we, I mean myself and the guy holding the camera, we're huge gearheads. We were probably the first people in Canada to have a Tyson Lamb putter. I don't know if that's official, but I'm 99% sure that we were the first Canadians to get a Tyson Lamb putter. This is a Bridgeport putter, and this was actually a wedding gift. This is how cool one of my closest friends is, that he gave this to me for my wedding. We have Jess's name there and the day we got married. So a little bit of sentimental value. This putter will never be sold. And these things aren't cheap. If you know the kind of collector putter market or the exclusive putter market, these things aren't cheap. I won't tell you how much they are, but it's pretty close to the entire bag. That to get one of these adds up, and it means so much more to me than money because it has that personal touch. Big fan of the Tiffany black and white paint fill, and on the toe I have my nickname or my last name. So it's kind of the joke spelling of my last name, Cubit. So again, it's a Bridgeport. I'll never sell it. It came with a leather stitched grip. I wasn't a huge fan of it. Putting's so personal that I have the Super Stroke, the Pistol Grip Tour, or Pistol GTR Tour. If you see the profile of it, you can see the top comes out, and just for me, that it holds so well. This is my putter, so if you're big into the putter game, it's probably a little sacrilegious to have Scottie Cameron head covers and then a Tyson Lamb putter. They're not necessarily direct competitors, but there's a big collector market of both. So shout out to all those guys that collect either Tyson Lamb or Scottie Cameron. That's everything for my bag. Let me kind of get into the nitty-gritty just so you can see the other things that I have. I definitely have a player's towel, and that's on my alignment stick. This is always changing as towels get so dirty. You can see that this one's almost ready for a wash. This wasn't made as a player's towel, but I cut a hole right in the center of it to hang on to. It's just, I find it so annoying to have this little strap that a real player's towel should have a hole in the center, and we made our own. This is my alignment stick that if I'm on the range and I need to work on my plane line or something, I think everyone should have an alignment stick. It's so awesome, especially early in the year, any time in the year, frankly, to put an alignment stick on the ground to match your alignment. That I highly recommend getting one of these. If you don't want to buy the one at your local golf store, you could go to any home hardware store, and they probably have a long stick that you could get for like $5. What else is on my bag? So we got tees. That's what's in this Taylormade bag. It's just a whole bunch of those same blue tees that I've already shown you. Right now I have a Frogger. This thing's about to get replaced. We had friends of ours send us an even better brush. I'm going to save that for a separate review video. This is the Frogger. Some people give golfers flack for carrying one of these. If you're hitting down on the ball and you get dirt in the grooves of your face, 100% you need one of these. Rangefinder. I have a slope rangefinder. We just released a video on the Precision Pro review. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. In my opinion, it's one of our best videos that we've made. And this is what this guy looks like. This is the Nx9 Slope Edition. This has all the same features as the highest end models, very similar to like the Bushnell Tour V5 Shift, that it has a magnetic grip on the side for the cart. It has slope, non-slope, and it's like $250, $279, I think. It's literally the half price of other rangefinders. I've had a previous generation, the NX7, and it's been so good to me that there's no point in me spending $600 for a rangefinder. So far, so good. I'm a huge fan of Precision Pro. I got my bag tag. I'll cover the number so you can't come steal my clubs, but as Country Hill members, you get one of these guys. Let's get into the pockets. Let's go high down. Again, I haven't set my bag, so some of this might surprise me, but I have a good idea of what's in here. We got a wrench, just in case anything gets loose on the driving range or if I want to play around with the setting, and some Advil. I think every golfer has played around with some Advil in them once or twice, if it's for the hangover or if you got some muscle pain. This is a new bag too, this Titleist. I think it's a 5-away stand bag. I'll tell you why I had to pick up a new bag in just a second. In the top pouch, this is the miscellaneous pouch. I think everyone has miscellaneous pouch. First thing I see, you might be wondering, what the heck is that? This is the remote control for my cart. I'll show you that after I get into my bag. But that's what that is. It's a remote control for my cart. I got a business card apparently, if you ever have to do business on the golf course. This isn't our full-time job yet, but hopefully you guys watching will hit that subscribe button so it could be our full-time job. I hope you appreciate the effort that we put into this. Tic Tacs, if you need a little sugar pick-me-up, or if you just you know, didn't have time to brush your teeth. Not that that happens, that's a bad analogy. I definitely brush my teeth. Contacts, I'm blind as a bat, that if I want to get home I need my contacts to see. I've got a Sharpie to mark my ball if we're playing for some money and can't use any dropped balls. Extra batteries for my remote. These are the small tees that I was talking about, so it's the same brand, but they're just smaller. I don't know why I have this weird irrational fear of taking a big tee and hitting down on it and having a bent tee that the ball will go different. We should do a science experiment to see if that is. Maybe that's a future video. Got a Band-Aid if you get blisters on the course. And yeah, that's everything. The rest are just small tees. So that's the miscellaneous pocket. That's what I had no clue which was going to be in there. Last, we got the ball bag. This is my Cobb's Golf. They're from Florida. This is my pouch that I put all of my personal belongings into. That you can see before I got here, I threw my phone in here. My keys are in here. And typically, whatever I keep in my pockets, I got 2 sets of keys because my wife left the keys in her purse, that whatever was in my pocket in my last round is in here. So there's a ball, Titleist Pro V1X, there's chapstick, there's a divot repair tool with a small ball marker on it, there's a lighter, Go Flames. If I don't know if I want to show off my secrets to getting out of some terrible rounds. I won't tell you what's in there, but it is legal in Calgary and I think the rest of the world. And that's it, just more tees and a ball marker. This is the ball marker I've been using the last year and a half. It's our home course, Country Hills. I'm not terribly superstitious about ball markers, but this one I've just enjoyed recently. It's got a heads and tails that if I need to mark it. So that's what's in my pouch. And then the rest should just be, oh, I lied. Scorecard holder. This is kind of embarrassing that I haven't changed all of my scorecards in the last, I don't know, 20 rounds, if that. There's a couple from different clubs, different courses, different rounds of the year that they're slowly building up. I'm sure I'll throw them out eventually. I usually keep that in my back pocket while I'm playing. If we're walking, then I can just score that way. I told you guys we're working on some new gloves. So you can see I got some extra Nx9 gloves in here that we've been testing. And the rest is just balls. So I got a mix of Pro V1 X balls. That's new. I've always played Pro V1s. I had a dozen Pro V1 X that I just wanted to try out. Taylormade TP5X picks. And maybe, no, that's it. Oh yeah, we'll have a couple Kirkland balls. It is still pretty early in the year, and if I'm not feeling that the swing is there, I'll bust out the Kirkland balls just because I really don't care if I lose them. It's easier to lose a $2 ball than it is a $6 ball, or it is on the wallet anyway, as we don't get free balls, not yet anyway. That's what's inside the ball bag. We got 2 more pouches to go. And this big guy is just the rain gear, that if it gets windy or it gets cool, got a half sleeve, a toque, and rain pants. The thought is if you carry it, you won't need it. And because I have the electric push cart, I'm not carrying it anyway. Lastly, we got sunscreen. We got a mask because COVID is still a thing. And rain gloves. These are older FootJoys. These are probably time for the trash. But just in case it starts raining, that's what's in my bag. And a water bottle. You shouldn't be golfing if you don't have some water. That's it. No secrets. Oh, actually, that's not it. One more thing I'm going to show you guys is my push cart. Give me a half second and I'll pull it up. This is my push cart. And by push cart, I mean electric push cart. As far as investments go, this has been probably the best golf investment I've made in the last 2 years. This is the caddy driver electric push cart. Has a remote, and I can just use a dial to push it. This has made walking so much more enjoyable. So what I can do, this dial here will turn from 1 to 9, 1 being the slowest, 9 being the fastest. If I'm walking with it, I can adjust it, obviously, how I want to drive it. And then I also have this remote that you guys saw in my bag. So super simple remote, but if I press up, it'll start moving, and then this is how I steer it, left, right, and reverse, and then stop. So kudos to all you guys that carry your bags, like good on ya, you're strong and don't mind back pain, but I hate it. Like when I was carrying my bag, I'd come home, my shoulders are sore, my back's sore. You get so tired and fatigued that a lot of guys that I play with have one of these electric push carts. We did a lot of research that at the time we thought it would cost like $2 to $3 grand just to get something with a remote. We found this, it's a local Canadian company, and it was like 900 bucks. I think 895 bucks to my house in 2 days. Maybe I'll do a full review if you guys are interested. We can put it in the comment section. But it has made walking so much more enjoyable, and I'm able to walk and get the exercise that I want, but I don't have to worry about my bag, that I could load it up with 40 balls if I wanted, and all my rain gear, and really not be worried about the stress it's going to put on my back. So as far as golf investments go, I'm thrilled to have this caddy driver. Okay guys, that is the extent of what's in my bag. Thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you smash that like button. Give us a subscribe if you haven't been here before. Check out our other videos, and we'll check in with you next time.